Introducing YouTube memberships, a fun way to support the channel while getting some exclusive perks. Click the join button to become a member now and get benefits like badges next to your name on videos, behind-the-scenes photos, advantages during the live trivia game, discounts on merchandise, private one-on-one video chats, the ability to request future video topics, and exclusive 8 to 10 minute videos on the history of the NFL. And now, on with our feature presentation. September 24th, 2023. It's week 3 of the NFL season, and we're under the lights in prime time on Sunday Night Football for this AFC rivalry game between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Las Vegas Raiders. Aside from being under the lights and being a big rivalry game, it's an important game for both of these teams, with both the Steelers and Raiders entering this one with identical 1-1 records. A win here for either team, and not only are you above 500 after 3 weeks, which is an awfully good spot to be in, but you're tied for the division lead in whichever division you're in. Especially if you're the Raiders, after an awful loss to the Bills the previous week by 28 points, where you had the ball for less than 20 minutes, you need a bounce-back game. And this game in front of your home fans for the first time all season seems like a great time to get it. The bad news for the Raiders is that the game starts off pretty poorly, as they fall behind 23-7, down by 16 points, and down by 2 possessions, or 8 points and 8 points. You need to get a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, another touchdown, and another 2-point conversion in order to tie the game and have any chance at pulling this off. It's unlikely, but it definitely can be done. After a surprisingly long drive that chewed up a lot of clock for some reason, the Raiders complete half of that equation when Jimmy Garoppolo hits Devontae Adams for a touchdown, and then successfully hits his wide-open tight end on the 2-point conversion. It's now 23-15. You're right back in it. 1 possession game. And especially after forcing a 3-and-out, and after driving into the red zone, you've got a shot here. Get the touchdown, get the 2-point conversion, and tie this bad boy up. The Raiders have second down at the 8-yard line with 2:35 left. 3 plays to get 4 yards. Instead, they're throwing it. Okay, that's interesting. Alright, 2 plays to get 4 yards. Maybe call a draw play and catch them off guard, or make it 4th and super short. Okay, they're throwing it again. This seems bizarre. Not sure I agree with this one bit. Not sure you know the situation here. But now, after 2 failed plays, you've got 4th and 4. This is the ball game right here. We're awfully close to it. Have to get 4 yards here and move the chains and keep the drive alive. Or else, your chances of winning are going to be virtually impossible. So let's see what great play offensive guru Josh McDaniels has drawn up for this situation. No. They're not. They're not. They can't possibly be, right? You're... You what? You're taking my freaking problem!
26. Carlson makes it. There were no flags.
Welcome to Dumb Decisions. Before I break down what happened here, this whole series is about taking an in-depth look at decisions made during games that were clearly awful from the start. This isn't something that looked bad in hindsight. Rather, this is something that looked awful almost immediately. These are moves where your gut instinct tells you right away that there is no way this can possibly work. And sure enough, your gut instinct was smarter than that of an NFL head coach. And for this one, we're taking a look at the mind of Las Vegas Raiders head coach Josh McDaniels. You know, I had another episode for Dumb Decisions planned that I was going to get out today first thing Monday morning. I was working on it intensely before the game, and the original plan was to just do that episode and call it a day. That one is still coming out, don't worry. And then, your idiot brain had to do idiot brain things and call one of the dumbest plays of the entire season, and in front of a national television audience nonetheless. This play was stupid at the time, and it's about to get a whole lot stupider when we analyze what you said in your defense of the decision. So with that being said, let's take a look at why calling a field goal down by 8 points with the ball in the red zone in a 4th and 4 situation and 2:30 left is a really bad idea. I just don't get the logic here with this at all. And this isn't even taking into account that you didn't call a single running play on 2nd and 3rd down, knowing that you probably needed to pick up 4 yards on 3 plays. As always, I like to look at the risk and reward of any particular situation. And in this case, we have to look at what McDaniels did, which was kick the field goal, versus what literally everyone in the stadium and everyone with the pulse would have done, and that was to go for it. Let's say you go for it. If you get the first down, congratulations. You now have a new set of downs. You have a goal to go situation, and you have a chance to tie the game up with time running out down by 1 possession. If you don't get the first down, well, that stinks, but it's still a 1-possession game. You figure that the Steelers get the ball at the 8-yard line, so they're pinned pretty deep. But there's still a chance to win the game if you get a 3 and out. Let's say you get the 3 and out, and let's just say in this hypothetical that they pick up 5 yards, so they get to the 13. Assuming a net punt of 50 yards, because Presley Harvin has a cannon of a leg, you're getting the ball back with no timeouts and about 150 left in the contest, somewhere around your own 37-yard line. Now, let's say you kick the field goal. Congratulations! You just turned a 1-score game into, you guessed it, a 1-score game! How does this field goal help you out here? If you went for it and got it and scored and got the 2, you tie the game, and there's not a lot of time left, so you pretty much had to walk away from this drive with the necessary points. If you kick the field goal and get it, you cut it from an 8-point game to a 5-point game. So you still need to do exactly the same thing that you would have had to do otherwise had you not gotten a touchdown. You're in the same boat. You need to find the end zone. But if anything, you're in an even worse boat, because you figure that after a touchback, the Steelers get the ball at the 25-yard line. You need to get a 3 and out, or else the game is over. Let's say you get the 3 and out, and they pick up 5 yards like before, so they get to the 30. Assuming that same net punt of 50 yards, you're getting the ball back with no timeouts and about 150 left in the contest, somewhere around your own 20-yard line. In scenario A, if you didn't get it, you need a 3 and out and need to score a touchdown, driving approximately 60 yards down the field. In scenario B, even if you got the field goal, so even in the best case scenario, you need a 3 and out and need to score a touchdown, driving approximately 80 yards down the field. You have worse field position and still need a touchdown either way. I'm not kidding. The worst case scenario by going for it and failing on 4th and 4 is somehow better than the best case scenario of kicking the freaking field goal, which is just insane to me. And ask yourself this question. Which do you think has a better and more realistic chance at happening? Do you think it's more realistic to expect an offense to pick up 4 yards and then pick up 8 yards in 4 plays to tie the game up? Or is it more realistic to kick a field goal, get a 3 and out, and then run a 2-minute offense 80 yards down the field with no timeouts? Honestly, which gives you a better chance to win the game? No one in their right mind would choose the second option. No one in their right mind would kick the field goal here and leave it up to that many variables, even if things go right. Except for Josh McDaniels. Except for Josh freaking McDaniels. Because he somehow tricked Mark Davis into thinking that he could actually coach a football team. But look, I've gone on long enough about how bad of a decision this was by McDaniels. I've had my say. Let's look at what McDaniels said about this. Because after the game, obviously, McDaniels was asked by reporters about why the heck he decided to kick the field goal here. And this is where an already dumb decision somehow gets even dumber. I know that this series is about things that look bad right away, and not things that look bad in hindsight. And trust me, this looked bad right away, and I'd be doing this video regardless. But then, McDaniels took it up a notch with his answer afterwards, which might be one of the stupidest things I've ever heard a head coach say. If he said, "I trusted our defense to get a stop," I would criticize that, don't get me wrong, but I would at least get it. If he said, "I felt we had enough time left with a 2-minute warning to get the ball back, and I trusted our team in a 2-minute drill situation," it would be a stupid reason. but at least it's something. But McDaniels did not say that, because McDaniels said, I kid you not, we needed multiple possessions. I wish I was making that up. McDaniels seriously said, down by 8 points, we needed multiple possessions. I'm sorry, what? Josh McDaniels is getting paid $10 million a year and doesn't know how to do basic math. You were down by 8 points. You were down 23-15. And somehow, that's multiple possessions? Did he not know the score? Did he not know how to do math? I genuinely don't get this for a few reasons. Number one, if you needed multiple possessions, then presumably it didn't matter when you got the touchdown and when you got the field goal. So why, 1 minute before, when the Steelers got called for a personal foul on a field goal, did you accept the penalty and get a new set of downs? Wouldn't it make more sense to decline the penalty, take the 3 points, and then have an extra minute on the clock so your defense has a bit more leeway to not need to get a 3 and out on the ensuing drive to have any chance at winning? Number two, guess what happened on your last drive? Seriously, guess what happened on your last drive before this? You scored 8 points! You knew the math then! You knew you were down by 16, which was 2 possessions. And after you got the touchdown, you went for 2 points to make it an 8-point game and make it 1 possession. So why didn't you do that again? Why didn't you know that? Did they change the scoring rules at 11 o'clock Eastern or something in the middle of the game? What am I missing here? By your own logic, your decision doesn't even add up, because your actions prior to this play dictated that you knew that you needed 8 points or 1 score to tie it up. But more importantly, 8 points is 1 possession! This is one of the brightest minds in football, folks. This is one of the 32 brightest minds the sport has to offer. Andy Reid and the Chiefs, for as great as they are, get handed a division title every year, because one team hired an awful defensive coordinator who was an awful head coach with that team before and just allowed 70 points. One team has a coach who's sniffing glue on the sidelines that went for on 4th down in his own 29-yard line up by 4 with 2 minutes left, and this joke of a team has a guy who can't count to 8! I honestly don't know how you can be a head coach at this level and not know what the score of the game is, especially when there's a scoreboard everywhere. Unless Allegiant Stadium cheaped out on the scoreboard, you had to know that this was an 8-point game. Even a 5-year-old knows that. And you, as a head coach, just admitted to your players that you don't know the score of the game. How do you have any credibility left? How can you possibly criticize a player for not being aware of the situation when you yourself did not know that 23 minus 15 equals 8? I honestly don't know what to say. Thank you, Josh McDaniels, for letting me forget for a few minutes about how bad my Jaguars played. This is a whole new level of incompetence that, quite frankly, is unparalleled. I thought I would be at a loss for content this year after Nathaniel Hackett and Jeff Saturday didn't keep their jobs. But you came in and saved the day. You are my superhero, Josh McDaniels. You are unbelievable. Oddly enough, this is not the first time I've done an episode like this on Dumb Decisions this season, where a coach did something stupid and kicked a field goal to turn a 1-possession game into a 1-possession game late with very little time left on the clock. Back in week 1, I talked about how Tennessee Titans head coach Mike Vrabel did this in a game against the New Orleans Saints. You can learn more about that by clicking the card in the upper right corner. But at least there's some justification for that. I don't agree with it. I think it was stupid, but at least there was some justification for that. Mike Vrabel looks like Vince Lombardi compared to what Josh McDaniels just did by kicking this field goal. I am in genuine awe right now. I don't know what to say. He kicked the field goal down by 8 points with 2 minutes left. What is there to say? So what do we learn from all of this? If you're going to give a coach 8 figures a year, make sure he can do basic math. When you subtract 23 and 15, you get 8. You can score 8 points on 1 possession. So if time is running out, and you need to score 8 points on a possession to have any chance at winning, then don't. Under any circumstances, especially these, do this. If the best case scenario of the clearly worse option is worse than the worst case scenario of the other option, then do the other option. If you need to pick up 4 yards and you're seriously evaluating whether that's a lower percentage play than getting a 3 and out and then driving 80 yards in 2 minutes with no timeouts, then reevaluate everything. And if you are a head coach in this league, make sure that you graduated kindergarten. It might come in handy. Because when all of these elements are in play, you can't exactly be surprised when this play backfires. Talk about a dumb decision. Get your official Jaguar Gear 9 merchandise by going to jj9shop.com, and be sure to like and subscribe, as it really helps the channel out a lot. Join me every Wednesday night where we'll play NFL Trivia for cash prizes at 9 p.m. Eastern over on Twitch. To learn more about the history of college football, subscribe to Jaguar Gator 8. To learn more about the history of Major League Baseball, subscribe to Jaguar Gator 7. Also, special thanks to all of our Patreon supporters for helping out the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. See how you can become a patron and request future video topics in the description below.